All right, guys, here we go. On the right side of the map, in the blue from the team Prime, it is none other than Maru. And over on the left side of the map, leading off for StarTale, a player that has, I believe, actually gotten an all-kill in the Team League last year. It is StarTale.Hack. And Maru, I can see, is not our blue color up on the scoreboard, but we'll get that changed real quickly.
There's so many colors.
Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. Yeah, wonderful. Perfect. Great. No worries. All right, there we go.
All right,
there we go.
So
it's all good.
TVT. Yeah,
on Antiga.
I've never seen TVT before. I feel like it's been 100 years since I've seen TVT.
Isn't that the weirdest feeling?
It is.
Because last year it was, you know, like GOM TVT and all that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was nothing but TVT when all the Korean players were dominating. But yeah, Terran players have kind of fallen by the wayside to a certain extent, and because of that, we don't get to see this matchup quite a bit. I feel like right now it's a bit of a crazy matchup. You can see a lot of kind of weird all-ins that players will tend to do just because they're not practicing it as much and not playing it as much in general. A lot of players in the team houses will be working on their TVP and their TVZ just because that's a much more common matchup these days. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Go ahead.
Sorry, TVT, the only thing that is sticking in my mind right now for TVT is Marine King versus Teja. That we cast. That
was a bit of a
couple of weeks ago for Fight Club. Yeah, proxy everything throughout that series. So I'm wondering if Proxy Marauders are going to show up. Not this game, obviously, as barracks are actually popped up in both players' bases at this point.
Yep, no Proxy Marauders this time. Doa said with a twinge of disappointment.
So actually both players sticking to very identical builds. You can see even just from the resource counts and the production tab, everything is right in line with each other. So basically, it's really hard to tell what they're going to be doing.
It's a mirror match.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we could see different things. We could see something like a Reaper expand from each player. That would be a very common thing on Antiga. Reaper expands you see all the time. Could also be sort of a one-base play as well. The Marine Hellion Medevac one-base has become very, very popular in this matchup, so that's also an option. Factory started immediately for both players. Orbital Command going down a little bit earlier for Hack, it looks like.
Yep, so really just not a lot to go on just yet. Single Marine coming out just to try and deny SCV scouts, stuff like that, and obviously start toward building an army, but not really an indicator of what sort of army they're going to be building. There's actually another Marine coming out for Hack, and not another one for Maru, so maybe Maru is looking toward a more mech-friendly strategy.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there are a good amount of Terran players out there that do like to do mech and TVT. Alive, Fnatic Alive is definitely a player like that. We've even seen at IPL Hot Import Nights, MMA actually and Illusion both did mech against each other on this map. The funny thing behind that was that neither player really ever plays mech, but they had both prepared strategies, mech strategies in game one, specifically to throw the other one off. Yeah. But then they both ended up doing it to each other and it just ended up being a crazy game. That was a fun series. Yeah,
it looks like Hack is actually scouting the third base location of where Maru couldn't actually be.
Looking for proxies, I guess.
That's a good. I mean, that's a good decision. Proxy starport is always a possibility. Yep. Both players actually did start their starports at the exact same time. Again, in that production tab, everything is right in line with each other. Looks like Maru did build a Hellion, popped one out of factory already, so we'll see if he's able to do any scouting or damage with this guy. And neither player actually going for the Xel'Naga Tower coverage just yet, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the possibility of proxy starports and things like that is so high. You just want to be on the map looking around. And look at this, man. What a mirror of mirror builds. They're both going for cloaked Banshee right now. Banshee's going to come out a little bit earlier for Maru.Prime. But now here's the question, like, will they both send them the same way on the map so they run into each other? That'll be hilarious if that does happen.
Or if they send them perfectly opposite.
Oh, man, that Hellion's going to get in.
Yeah, he's going to get in to stop him from getting in. One Marine at the bottom, 4 Marines at the top of the base for Hack. So at least he had coverage. The Hellion got in and saw stuff, but it didn't do any damage at all. It
didn't do damage, but he saw that there's going to be cloaked Banshees on the way. I can't believe that Hack let him in. That's just absolutely crazy. So now he's going to be able to prepare. Looks like Maru.Prime already preparing as well. Or no, Maru.Prime, yeah, seeing that. Does put down the engineering bay, is going to be able to throw up a turret. And look at that, no engineering bay for Hack yet because he doesn't know that his opponent's going cloak Banshees. So that Hellion, pretty crucial to Maru's survival potentially.
Hack is basically playing blind right now. He does have this SCV at the Xel'Naga Tower, so he did actually see this Banshee float through the middle. The Marines should be, they're in a decent position. So they were at the top of the base already kind of expecting this. That's why they were hanging out there on the top side of the mineral line instead of at the top of the ramp. So now the Banshee's here. Marines are well aware. Cloak is ready, though, so obviously Maru has that ability to just cloak and get a few free shots. It's going to be on the orbital command now to have enough energy to scan, as, like you said earlier, no engineering bay just yet to provide detection for anything, but there is a Raven actually almost done now.
Yeah, the nice thing for Hack is that he does have a Raven on the way. It's definitely a good move a lot of times to get that Raven after your first Banshee. If you have any sort of tingling sensation that your opponent may be doing the same thing. And now that the Raven is out, he should be able to chase it away. The problem is he killed so many Marines before the Raven actually hit.
15, 16 kills already, and the Banshee of Hack is actually not doing as much damage.
Oh,
and
the Viking
will be getting done, and he ran out of cloak energy. So 3 bad things happening there for Hack's Banshee, while Maru's is still alive and kicking.
Yeah, man, Maru's in a great spot right now. I mean, Hack was able to kill all those Marines, and now he's killing a ton of SCVs. Look at that, up to 24 kills right now with 14 workers killed. Wow.
The Banshee finally goes down once that Viking pops out, but man, that is
working okay.
That is a huge units lost discrepancy there.
Yeah, it's not too good. So between the Marines lost and the SCVs lost, Hack isn't going to be attacking anytime soon. Maru is in a great spot right now, sending another Banshee across the map at the moment. Oh, but there is a Viking there. Well, and he does know the Raven is there too, so he's going to need to be pretty cautious about this.
So he bounced him away. There were a few kills, like we saw on the units lost. 4 workers killed there from Maru's mineral line, but just not even close in terms of scale. And another Marine bites the dust there to the second Banshee. And so I was wondering if Hack would be building more Banshees. He is actually. There's one in the production tab just about to finish, but I don't know if he's going to have the same success as Maru is having here, just because turrets are already everywhere.
Yeah,
like they're already ready.
I think the window is kind of passed. The window of time is passed for Hack to really do damage with this. I think to a certain extent Maru's not going to really do too much more damage with these Banshees as well. I mean, now that the Viking and the Raven is out, actually gets
kills,
like,
though.
yeah, no kidding. That one actually did a little bit better than I thought it would. But oh, and here comes another Banshee too. And, you know, throughout all of this, although Maru, you know, is spending money on these Banshees, he's getting enough kills each time, like somehow, some way to make up for it. Let's see how many this one gets.
That last one actually just ran out of energy. The Raven wasn't even necessary.
Yeah.
He actually lived his entire stealth lifespan before going down, but now Hack is back in action. There's 1 turret there, 2 turrets. Was there a Raven in the air? No, actually there's not a Raven, but he does have enough energy for a scan. He's ready for it. Might be able to pick it off. 1 more volley. Ooh, 2 life, another scan though, and it goes
scan. Yeah.
So man, Maru is actually still just way ahead already. You can see just in the supply count, 59 to 36 is pretty drastic already for this point in the game.
Yeah, both players going for siege tech as well, getting that Marine tank count up and running. Makes sense after a crazy opening like that you just want to go into something safe and standard like Marine tank. Seems to be kind of the typical thing to do right now in TVT in general. Not a lot of players playing bio or mech that much anymore. It's nearly all Marine tank again. Oh, a scan, and that Banshee's actually going to escape.
Yeah, and another Banshee from Maru is actually up and joining the attack force of Maru, so he's going to be moving across the map with an actual fighting force rather than these little raiders that keep picking away at the mineral lines.
Oh, Hack scans just have not been working out very well. Or, Maru scans rather.
Well, I mean, he snagged the last one, but it did cost him 2 scans. This one, he just barely gets away, so he's going to get another SCV kill or 2. But now it is time for Maru to try and do as much damage as he possibly can. Banshee's already doing work on those siege tanks. Look at that, going to pick those off incredibly quickly. And not enough left on the high ground here, I think, for Hack to be able to stay competitive.
Yep. Oh, the Raven does go down as well, and now that Cloak Banshee is going to be extra effective. He does lose the tank. He doesn't have any more Marines. Oh, he does have 2 Marines there. 1 Marine. Maru.Prime is just so brave.
Bunker at the front actually manages to snag a couple of kills. Siege tank on the low ground, Banshee on the high ground, working in tandem to try and blast down as much as they can, but the tank does go down. Hack is going to stay alive for now, and he actually brings the supply difference back in line
I think that was kind of a bad attack by Maru, actually. I mean, he did some damage. He did kill some very valuable units, but just overall didn't get a whole lot done with it. You know, I feel like that was maybe a little bit premature for him to move out like it. But as things are, he still does have a little bit of a lead. Now, the nice thing for Hack is he had his second command center a lot earlier, so he's been able to double produce SCVs for quite a while now. So if we look at the worker count, it won't be quite as big of a discrepancy. Well, looks like it is still, well, pretty big.
42 to 30 is a pretty solid
yeah,
amount.
It's pretty big.
It's about
thought it'd be a little bit
more
closer than that. But
SCVs. Yeah, so another third command center coming up for Hack. Doesn't look like Maru's building a third command center yet, so he could actually fall behind if this game stretches on for much longer.
Yeah.
Actually, if you look at supply now, they're within 5, within 8 of each other. So Hack defending his base quite well. They're actually, you know, keeping him in this game. Siege Tech obviously done for both sides. Now both teams are, or both players are just rolling out tanks constantly. Looks like Maru's still going with Banshees. Banshees do great against tanks. I mean, that's not even a question. You are forcing them to build anti-air just to be able to protect your tanks. So not a terrible idea to keep cranking out those Banshees.
Yeah. Now Hack is going mecha, actually, putting down 2 more factories there, remaking his Raven. So if he goes like Hellion Thor or a Hellion Tank Thor in this particular case, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. He'll have a long range on those Thors with the Raven added on to handle his opponent's Banshees. That'll be a pretty good spot for him. And it's going to also help him take a third a little bit easier too. So he's still got a chance. He's got a chance.
From the middle of the map that was previously just out of energy. He waited a while, kind of lingered around, building that energy up, and he does keep enough lead on these Marines to be able to get away again. But now the Raven Viking combo easily going to pick that off. But another one has approached from the right side, just arrived, snagged a couple of kills, it looks like, before having to hit the cloak button. So, I mean, he got some free time there. But again, that Raven Viking combo, if they ever get close enough, that Banshee's just going to eat it and go down.
Much.
But, yeah, both players actually just massing these land armies as well as they can. I think Maru is still ahead. He's got, you know, that economy that we were talking about earlier. He's still, actually, wow, Hack closed the gap again on SCVs. So Maru letting this lead just slip throughout the game.
He's made a couple little mistakes here and there, but overall, Hack's just done a really great job of just not giving up, you know, not getting discouraged, continuing to make a lot of workers, macro well, defend well, and at this point, the supply lead from Maru is pretty small. He does still have that middle ground, high ground, which is kind of nice to have. Yeah,
the low ground, high ground combo is actually nice with the siege tanks and Banshees that he's still got going on, and nice sending that one Marine scout. Actually, Hack is going to do the same thing and be like, hey, where's that? Where's his force? But now looks like the Zone Link Tower is going to catch a small glimpse of it. Yeah, he's got time to react and come over to that third, though. So here we have the biggest engagement of the game. All these Blue Flame Hellions torching the Marines in the front. It looks like a lot of Marines have gone down. The tanks are sieged up now, so we are going to have this sort of air versus tanks spotting battle that we tend to see in TVT, and the point defense drone eating a lot of those rockets from the Vikings. They're just going to blow it up indiscriminately, and this tank is going to go down to the Banshee. So,
you know, despite Hack's comeback, I feel like he's still in a little bit of trouble here. The Banshee-Viking combination is really, really strong here. At the same time, Maru moving through those back rocks as well. If he gets up that ramp, he's going to be in such a good position to take out that third.
Yeah, and he's got 1-0 upgrades where Hack still has no upgrades for any of his units, so that could also play a huge factor here when Maru's Bioforce is actually much larger than Hack's is.
Hack going for that Thor now, but I feel like he could have used it a little bit earlier. I mean, the tanks aren't quite as nice, even though, you know, when your opponent has so many Banshees, so many Vikings up in the air. These Banshees have just been relentless, man. I mean, there's never been a lot out at one time, but there's always been at least like 1 or 2 up there doing damage.
Yeah, this Air Force is proving to be the difference in this fight. The tanks can't do anything. Hellions obviously can't do anything. He's got to keep making these Marines just to be able to deal with it, and a couple of Vikings at a time. But Maru still has a superior Viking count. It looks like reinforcements are coming as well. A bunch of Marauders coming in with medevac support. So I think I like Maru's force here a lot compared to Hack's dwindling sort of hodgepodge of units that he's got.
Yeah, Hack's still got a decent tank spread there, but he does need to evacuate his third. He's attacking with the SCVs. That's not going to do anything at all. And Maru.Prime coming down the ramp. Does he have enough to take out those tanks?
He is just bulldozing through with Stim. The medevacs are going to manage to keep up a lot of those Marauders. And it looks like the Banshee actually went down somewhere in that fight. All the tanks, oh no, actually he's still got his tank line. That actually played a huge part in that fight there at the ramp. You can still see the blood splatter there within range of those siege tanks. So the Thor not really doing too much. I mean, he does do splash damage against air, so hitting those Vikings like that is going to be nice. Does have 4 kills, so not a terrible investment, but it's not going to really be able to save him or anything. More Marauders, lots more Marauders just streaming in with these medevacs, several at a time. Maru.Prime.
Well, this
Hellion counterattack could actually do some damage. There's not going to be any SCVs at the third, but he might be able to get into the natural. And oh my goodness!
Oh, no!
What are you doing?
Hack.
Biggest oversight of the game, and now we actually have a real battle going on again down here. Landed Vikings blasting down the tanks, or at least trying to, but the Thor actually proving his muscle. All these Marauders with medevac support, though, are going to be enough to take that out. The tanks actually being the stars in the back, keeping Hack alive again, but now medevac's loading up with the bio units and keeping the siege tanks on the low ground are going to give him a lot of versatility here inside the base of Hack.
I cannot believe those Hellions did not kill every single one of those SCVs.
It was almost
it was like an SCV buffet, man. It was like, look, here, just please kill all my Hellions in one, all my SCVs in one shot.
When I was like, man, those Hellions aren't going to do anything. There's no SCVs, and then they're like, oh, we'll help you out.
SCV train,
We'll just walk right up. Nothing.
It's like SCV Suicide Club or something like that. But the Hellions were merciful that day.
He just
They're
didn't
like,
see it, man.
It's too easy. Those Hellions like a challenge.
I'm wondering how big of a difference that would have made, because that was at least 16-ish SCVs being transferred over.
It would have made it essentially 2 bases to 2 bases.
Yeah, units lost right now. Maru is ahead by about 3 to 4K. That's a significant difference when you're looking at 9 to 12,000.
Wow.
But all these drops directly onto the tanks, Hellions not being able to do their full splash, it looks like, and just kind of scattered around like that. And they just loads up and walks away. There's still some action going down at the third as well. Marauders just keeping that orbital command from being able to land and start mining again.
Maru's playing so crazy right now. I mean, he's just, I would almost call it sloppy, but he's just using every little edge he can get. You know, he's like, all right, I know I'm ahead in supply. I know I've got a nice economic lead as well. So if I just keep your siege tank count really, really low, I can eventually move in with an army that I built up and just kind of end the game. So that's why we see him taking all these big risks, like dropping units like that on top of tanks in a situation where he doesn't really outnumber his opponent all that much.
Ooh, I like this buying time with the Marauders in the front, giving the rest of his forces time to join up. I was going to say earlier, I really think if he gets all these forces together, he can win the game right now. But he's just giving Hack more time with all these Hellions and siege tanks. Splash damage is nothing to scoff at. So finally, he is going to join up the rest of his forces. He just has more streaming across the map at all times. He's given up on Hellions and tanks, going that pure bio. And, you know, it works out because you can drop, you can spread the forces out, you can get into the main easily. It's going to be quite difficult for Hack to be able to fight against this. That's another sort of defect of so much mech, is you're immobile. Look at that stem just rolling through those tanks in the front line.
Well, it's just really, really hard to make mech work on a low economy like that. I mean, he's done an admirable job staying alive this game, but I feel like Maru just has too strong of an army. Here we go. Maybe thinking about going down the ramp. No, he doesn't decide to do that. Smart decision there. This is almost like a year and a half ago TVT composition, like tank, marauder, medevac. Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much,
Metalopolis.
There's big blue blobs coming down all the time for Maru, just joining up forces constantly. And actually, this could be great if Maru sticks around here next to the siege tank. If he sticks around here long enough, that top force, if there are medevacs in it, he's going to load up. He's just going to hit the main. So he's distracting as long as he can. He's dropping skins to make sure that he's not backing up into his main. The spotting barracks is going to be there, but there's no fighting forces here at all. So he's going to be able to pick off all these production facilities. Yeah,
if he just kills all the tech labs, he'll win the game, and he knows it. No tech labs mean no more tanks. No more tanks means only Hellions, and only Hellions means a win for Maru.Prime. So he's trying to get to that as soon as possible. Those production facilities taking a lot of damage.
Also, wow.
Yeah. Maru's just all over the place right now, trying to snipe that tank, and it looks like he will get it.
Oh, sorry. Sorry for clicking away right at that moment. I was really curious. Really curious why a bunch of Hellions are going to the top left base for no reason.
They're trying to find something to kill.
Maru, again, sending another big blue blob. Just running right into those Hellions. Hellions again ignore their chance at some free Marines. End up killing nothing. So too bad, so sad for Hack. Things are starting to crumble in his hands. He was inching his way back throughout the mid-game there, but now at the 26-minute mark, it looks like Maru is back firmly in control. He hasn't had to build a Banshee or a tank in so long now. He's just spamming Marines and Marauders and just cleaning up with them, actually.
Pretty much. I mean, it took Hack so long to take his third base that Maru was just able to get a great lead going. He's still continuing to drop and things like that in the natural. This one gets cleaned up, but the damage has been done. I mean, the supply lead is way more now for Maru.Prime than it was earlier in the game. And here he comes, a lot of bio trying to split things. It's a lot of siege tanks, but Maru.Prime has enough. GG. And Maru.Prime winning the first game for Prime. So here we go.